Hey, what's up everybody? Slick the Gamer Scott W. Perry here, and welcome to yet another edition of Retro Chronicles, where we're taking a look at the history and game-by-game analysis of WWF WWE video games. And we're up to 1990 still, and we've covered Nintendo, we've covered arcades, we've covered computers, but now we're going to a realm that was brand new, and well, the World Wrestling Entertainment, World Wrestling Federation had to have a game for it, and that is the world of Game Boy. And in early 1991, forgive me, they released the first game for the Game Boy system, and that would be WWF Superstars. And believe it or not, again, LJN, bad LJN, bad. Actually, this is not bad. Superstars, this is a very fun game. I enjoyed the hell out of this game when this came out. I was one of the first to get a Game Boy, and I couldn't wait for this game to come out. And what's interesting is this game is very simple. And it's probably the most simple out of all the old games from the 8-bit. All it is a one-on-one confrontation. You're one of 5 superstars, and it is well represented. This really, I have to admit, is one of my favorite overall WWF retro games, without question. The 5 wrestlers in it, you have Mr. Perfect making his video game debut, Million Dollar Man Ted DiBiase, Randy Savage, he's still the Macho King here, Hulk Hogan, and the Ultimate Warrior. The setup, it is black and white, you know, because Game Boy originally was black and white, or a nice shade of pea green, for those who remember that. And it's just a one-on-one matchup, but it is represented well. The graphics are like a simple scaled rendition of the WWF Superstars game for the arcade. So the fact that this is called Superstars and now is Superstars, I think, was good. They definitely tried their best to emulate that arcade experience into the palm of your hand. And I thought they did a decent job. You know, it's a simple, okay, one button you grapple, one button you punch, same thing as we've had. No finishing maneuvers. There is a special move where you can take your opponent and throw them out of the ring, which depletes a lot of their health. But where this game really stands out, and what I really like about it, is that when you pick your superstar and you have your match, you set your opponent, there is a pre-match interview where the superstars jab insults at each other. And I thought that was pretty good. They have 2 jabs. The first one is a generic jab, and then the second one is specific to the superstar that you're facing. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then after the match, we have our, I believe it's the debut of it. There's no name on it, but it looks just like him. I believe we have our first video game appearance of Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And he gives a recap of the match that just happened, where he'll be like, well, the Warrior once again shows his true strength. And Mr. Perfect looked anything but perfect that night. And, I loved it when you beat Hogan. It'd be like, incredible, the Hulkster rarely loses, but he'll win again. And, but it's little things like that that really make me enjoy the game. For like, you put it in, 10 minutes, you're done. That's what I like about it. At the time, you could play with a game link if you had another friend who played the game, and I did that. I believe my late cousin had the game at the same time. We would play it sometimes together. I always played as either Warrior or Perfect. I was just happy. I was a big Mr. Perfect fan, and I was just thrilled to death that Mr. Perfect was in that game. So WWF Superstars for Game Boy by LJN does not suck. So that's the first game. And then we get to the sequel, which was released a year later, and that is WWF Superstars 2 by LJN, and this game does suck. All right. This one, we're going to talk about it in a future episode, which is Steel Cage Challenge, which came out in '92 at the same time. This is pretty much like a scaled down version of that. It does introduce a steel cage in it, which is nice. You have 6 superstars in it, which is pretty good. But unlike the first game, the graphics aren't as good, the sound isn't as good, and it is pretty generic, and there's really not much to it. Now, you do have a good representation of superstars in this game. You have Hulk Hogan. You have Randy Savage. That seems to be a trend in all these games. But this time, Savage is back to the Macho Man. So, all right, you can take that for what it's worth. But we have 4 superstars we haven't seen before. One is a surprise. I thought it would be in an earlier game. That's Jake the Snake Roberts. Sid Justice here. Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid, but here he's Sid Justice. We have the least greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, the Mountie. And finally, we have the Undertaker. And while they look a little bit different, they're not, movesets, they're pretty much all the same. And I'm a little disappointed by that. You know, coming from a decent start with Superstars, I thought Superstars 2 really wasn't that good. But I mean, it has its moments, you know, for sure. Definitely, I think, more of a time waster, and I don't think they put a lot of thought into it when they did it. I like the 6 wrestlers in it. I think, you know, at the time for Portable, it was good. You know, you go on the go, you have, hey, let's have a steel cage match between Hogan and Justice, because at the time they were feuding. And what I do like is that on the cover, you have the Undertaker taking on the Mountie in a match that I don't think I've ever seen. So, you know, I've looked all over the network. They have the Coliseum Video Classics and everything like that. I've never seen this match. And I would like to see the Undertaker kick the Mountie's ass, because nobody liked the Mountie. Nobody. I mean, I don't understand why they have him as a character, because nobody ever played as the Mountie. I mean, if you could find anybody, aside from the Rougeau family, who the hell played as the Mountie? So, I mean, you have 6 people. You could have made him a boss like you did in the Superstars arcade game, and just, you know, picked another guy to do it. But, you know, but anyway, I mean, he was an Intercontinental Champion for 2 days. And I have to admit, he was awesome as one of the Quebecers. I will say that. Okay, so he makes up for that. But overall, Superstars 2, a bit of a disappointment, especially from the first one. So there you have it. Our first 2 games for the Game Boy, Superstars and Superstars 2. And that does it for this edition of Retro Chronicles. And stay tuned for our next one, because we're going to get to, we're going to go back to the arcades, and we're going to talk about probably what a lot of people consider to be the greatest single game that was ever made for the company for arcades. It's one that has been emulated, and there's actually an official sequel that is coming out soon for it. And that is nothing short of spectacular, as it does celebrate its 30th anniversary coming up, and that is Russellfest. And that's coming up next on Retro Chronicles. I'm Slick D Gamer, Scott W. Perry. Taking care, signing off. Have a good one.